Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing something that KubotaSwappers has been wanting me to do since I started doing this swap almost 2 years ago. Today we are upgrading the turbo on my Kubota V2403. So if we go over here, you can see some of the parts that I have collected. Now I do have other parts, but the one piece we're really interested in is this. This is a Borg Warner K03 turbo. This is the recommended turbo that KubotaSwappers likes to run on the 03 series diesel engines. So let's get to it.
Alright everyone, so to start off we're going to undo the 4 bolts on the compressor housing, and I believe it's 6 bolts on the turbine housing, so that we can rotate the bearing housing to be situated correctly. Now we are going to need to unhook the wastegate right now and rehook it up, because I am going to be using wastegate pressure because I'm not running an intercooler right now. So let's get to work.
Now that we have the turbo clocked, we need to go ahead and remove some components off the engine so we can start test fitting the Borg Warner K03. We're going to remove the downpipe, the charge pipe, the air intake pipes, the oil feed and drain line, and finally we are going to remove the turbo itself off of my Kubota V2403. Alright, the next thing we need to do now is remove the oil feed and drain lines, because we're going to have to redo those for the new turbo. Alright, so we have all the original turbo pieces off the motor. So now we are going to try test fitting the adapters that I got from KubotaSwappers, putting the turbo on. I actually want to make sure that it's going to clear the hood. Alright everyone, I have been on the phone ordering parts and talking to people. This is a perfect opportunity to explain why you do not weld stuff before you test fit. Here's the flange adapter I got from KubotaSwappers. Fits perfectly. Here's the other end of the flange. Now this is a Schedule 40 pipe, and I've just tapped it into this flange that I got from KubotaSwappers. It is not welded. I really thought about going ahead and welding it. I am so glad I didn't, because if I go to put it on, guess what? I've either got the turbo turned like this, and my exhaust is basically coming out right here, or if I try to go straight, the wastegate hits the valve cover. Now, what I have done is I went ahead and ordered a scheduled 45 degree bend pipe that will be here tomorrow. So the turbo now will actually be mounted about like that, and that gives me plenty of room for everything that I need to do. Alright everyone, it's the next day. So I got the new part in. Here's the 45 degree bend, and it is painted, so I'm gonna have to actually take this to the bench grinder. I think I'm gonna do that right now and just knock the paint off. Yeah, that's gonna go on like that. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to tack weld this up real quick so it's strong enough that I can set the turbo down on it. And then I want to make sure that my hood shuts, because it actually looks like it's setting the turbo up a little bit higher than I was expecting. So back to work. right, everyone. Test fit the turbo. I like the way it's looking. I'm going to be able to adapt my current exhaust to it. I did rotate it down because I have another pipe coming, so I can do a 180 into this pipe here, and that should work out fine. So we're going to take the turbo back off and completely weld up that flange to flange adapter for the turbo to the stock exhaust manifold. Alright everyone, I have this flange welded, and that's about as close as I'm going to get it to the camera because, again, I am not a welder, but this is not coming apart. This is all very thick steel. This piece of tubing right here was schedule 40. I put my welder on its strongest setting and just went to town. I can actually see on the inside I have a consistent burn mark all the way around, or a heat mark, whatever you want to call it, so I know this is sealed. It's not pretty, it's not the best welding I've ever done, but it's going to get the job done. But now we're going to actually install the turbo onto the Kubota V2403, and then we're going to go on and figure out the next steps on what we have to do. So back to time lapse. Alright everyone, now that we have the turbo mounted, we need to start figuring out the exhaust system. I'm not going to use this kind of plate connection again. I probably should, but I have a flange that bolts to the turbo, so this seems redundant. So we're going to cut this off so we can slide the flange onto this, figure out where it needs to go, and then we'll weld this up. Alright everyone, we have the exhaust cut, and I've slid over the flange and the pipe adapter. I'm going to try sliding this into place real quick and just seeing kind of where everything is going to fall. The turbo has actually been raised and come out a little bit, but that might not be a problem because I was really close to the frame rail when I first made this exhaust, way closer than I intended. So having the exhaust come this way a little bit, I'm not too worried about. I am a little bit worried about the lift, but that's why we're test fitting this to see how everything looks. You know what? Since I know I don't have to cut this, I'm going to go ahead and weld this first. Alright, I've gotten everything welded up. Here's the gasket. I've got 3 bolts. We're going to bolt this to the turbo. Then we're going to hook the exhaust into this, see where everything lines up, and if everything goes real well, I'm going to mark it with some Sharpies, and then we're going to weld the exhaust. Alright everyone, this exhaust system is going to go back together way better than I had originally imagined or hoped for, to be very honest. I am very happy with what I'm seeing right now. I'm trying to decide if it would be of benefit to cut some of this off so I could slide the pipe further in. I'm actually debating doing that. This is one of those times where even another inch would really help me out here. So I think we're going to take it off and try again.
All right, everyone, I'm actually really happy with the way this is turning out. Cutting off that little piece of metal like I did was absolutely the right answer. I have plenty of room here and everything just looks like it fits better. So what I'm gonna do, instead of trying to take this off and weld it, I'm gonna bring my welder over here and I'm gonna put 2 really good tack welds on either side. Then I'm gonna take it off, take it over to my vise over there, and we're gonna weld it up really good. All right, I've got my downpipe all welded. So now we are gonna hook the exhaust back up to our new Borg Warner K03 turbo. Alright everyone, that's all I have for this video. I'm actually waiting on parts, which is why we're ending early, but we've got a lot done considering I've actually been doing this for about 3 days. We have our adapter made and welded, we have the turbo mounted to our adapter, we've modified the exhaust and hooked it back up. I'm really happy with how it is. It's actually a little bit further from the frame rail now, which I was always a little bit hesitant about. It seemed like it would hit the frame rail. That won't happen anymore. What we have left to do is to run the oil feed and return lines and to figure out how we're going to do this charge piping. I actually have an idea. I have this 180-degree bend, and if I cut the pipe about there, all I need from here to here is a 45-degree bend, and I'll be able to hook up all my piping. I don't have that piece right now, which is why we're ending early. It's actually not going to get here for another 2 days. So anyway, it's YouTube, you know what to do, and hey, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Goodbye.